Hello, everybody. Hey. Feels like long time no talk. And my webcam had a new driver update, and now everything looks super bright, which is weird. I tried to change the exposure and stuff, but I look like super blown out. But oh well. Oh well. Hope you're all doing well. Tonight we're just gonna mess around in Krita for a little bit. I don't need to, but I would like to start drafting up a comic book cover, because that way I can start getting that design sense going in order to, make the comic book, or graphic novel, or whatever you want to call it. But this will be the cover for issue 0, and I think issue 0, it's probably going to be free, because I need to put out a thing first, and plus there's a bunch of exposition to set up the actual story. So I thought, okay, this would be a nice way to do all the exposition stuff and get it out of the way, because really the comic book is sort of like a one-man play throughout the however long it takes, however many issues it is. I don't know. I've been doing a lot of digging in to how comic books work. I'm reading Making Comics by Scott McCloud, which is amazing and super eye-opening. But also there's a lot of smaller decisions that I didn't think I would even have to worry about. But whenever you're writing and kind of directing and being the artist and all that stuff, you have a lot of things that you need to figure out even before you start painting stuff. So painting is 5th or 6th on the list of things. I still got to finish up the draft of the script, then really finding out these brush. Oh, hey, Isolda. Hey. Welcome. Good to see you. I'm glad you like the sample pack. It's fun. It kind of has everything you need. You know what I mean? And I made that pack probably 2020, so 4 years ago. And yeah, I still use either exact versions of those brushes or modified versions, but those are kind of the base, because those are the ones that are kind of heavy hitters, and yeah, use those up. But yeah, with the comic stuff, there's so much that goes into it that you don't even think about, because I'm an illustrator. I do covers, but it's more like right now I'm about to sign a contract for a board game cover. And there's some variance there, as far as working on covers and book covers and things like that. But what I found is that comic book covers are an interesting thing, because they don't necessarily follow the same rules that a board game cover would, or even a standard book cover. Comic book covers can get away with a lot. It's closer to fine art than it is Magic the Gathering card. You're gonna have the same things like readability. Is it clear? Is it all this type of stuff? Is there storytelling to it? But I think the storytelling is deeper on the comic book cover side of it, because you basically have to encapsulate the entire issue of what you're about to read into one image, but not give spoilers. It has to be more thematic. What's the theme? And then you paint the emotion of the theme to set the expectation for the book. So there's a lot of that type of stuff, which, sometimes I think that way, but really this is a way to kind of push it first. Make sure that this all narratively makes sense. And that's a fun thing. It's a fun type of challenge. I don't exercise that muscle a lot. Really, I'll just, hey, how can I make this painting look better? And I think very much draftsman sort of composition and, that type of stuff. But this is a nice twist, because it's more focused on the narrative more so than anything else. Even the artwork takes a pretty considerable backseat, but you can get away with more. You can get away with more abstraction and weird. I have Krita up. We're gonna use Krita to block this out, because I have an idea of the type of look that I want, and I'll show you guys examples too, of other comic book artists that, not that I want to do their style necessarily, because I'm frankly not good enough to do their style, but I like their interpretation of what a comic book is. Does that make sense? Like, whenever we look at it, I think it'll make more sense because it's, there's so many different ways to do it. And like, it sounds ridiculous because it's like, well, of course, because it's art and you can do all this. But like, even the rules of narrative flow and stuff like that, there's so much nuance in comic books. And to be fair, I didn't ever really give it enough credit. I always loved the art of comic books and like the writing and stuff, and I have collections of graphic novels and like Northlanders and DMZ and Pride of Baghdad and Planetary and, you know, a few Batman like collections and Watchmen, and you know, I have kind of a small little library of stuff, but I never really got it. Like, I love reading it and the stories are good and stuff, but understanding now how much work it takes, I'm like, whoa, it's a miracle any of these ever get made. Because, like, you're telling me I have to put 7 paintings on a page in a narrative sequential style and have it look good and make sense and be written well and edited and, you know, formatted correctly, and like, it's a whole different ballgame. So I'm excited to try it. I can't guarantee it's going to be any good, but I did think that the best way to get started was to work on a cover, because I have to think of that narrative, think of the theme. What's that first issue or issue 0 gonna be? It's gonna be free. I'm gonna release it on my website and all Gumroad and all that stuff. So that way people can download it and read it on their computer or like Kindle. And also it's a good way for me to practice formatting for different storefronts. So like for Amazon Kindle versus, you know, iPad versus, you know, whatever people are reading it on. And then as it gets further along in the process and I get more comfortable and I start making small tweaks and things like that, I'd comfortably be able to make the artwork. That way, if once this thing's done in a few years, because it's going to take a while, maybe we do a Kickstarter and maybe we do physical books and I sign them. And, you know, there's some cool things that I have in mind, but this is step number 1. Literally tonight, you guys are going to see I haven't even started any of the painting yet. I put a few textures down on the background of the canvas and that's it. So this is it. This is the start of whatever this is going to be. No guarantees when it's going to come out. Could be 2 months from now. It could be 2 years from now. I have no clue. But it's something, and it's going to be ours, you know. And then there's something powerful with that. So let me kick over here, and I'm also going to... I'm going to have chat here on the side, and it's going to be a little bit easier to see. So that way... everyone can kind of be online celebrity. You know what I mean? Do some cool stuff there. Let me move my microphone. That way I can face my art monitor. All right. So there is that. I'm going to turn down the music, and I'm also going to change the music to be a little more wistful. It's still sci-fi, but a little more wistful. That way, if I go on a super focused bit of painting, you guys have some cool stuff to listen to. So, there we go. All right, so let's talk about this real quick. I am a big fan. Of course, I did Craig Mullen stuff. I had these pictures up because I talked about him on the latest YouTube video. And just some of the way he kind of sketches after he paints. So he kind of works in reverse. And I like that idea. So I'm going to start doing that. So you can see kind of these textures here, and you can tell he went over top and did stuff. So some of this is photo texture, but also some of it is actually like pencil sketching over top of what he already has, which is really cool. But as far as the actual graphic novel side of things, I'm a big fan of Ashley Wood. He is an Australian artist. and he does incredible stuff. He did the Metal Gear Solid graphic novel collection. He did Metal Gear Solid and also Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. But the way he thinks about this is super interesting to me, because he has the bounding boxes of a comic, but not really. You know what I mean? He treats it more, each page is a painting, more so than, and like this one's a perfect example, because you can see the horizon line here kind of acts not only as cover for Snake, but then his sketch lines come down here, and this is all one painting, but you can see there's a progression of time. Like, really intricate sort of storytelling devices, and then he has the 3 cutouts over top here. So, like, masterfully done stuff, right? And I just love the style, too. It's very gestural. It's sketchy. It has a lot of texture. And I think that part I'm going to completely kind of ape, I think. Like I said, I'm nowhere near as good as Ashley Wood, but I love, like, instead of the very formal bounding boxes, you can tell he just took an ink brush and just gritted out the lines. It's dirty. It's rough. Like, stuff coming out of the lines. I love this sort of energy. So this is kind of what we're going to channel a little bit. And then this is just sick. So this is the type of stuff you could make as a cover. You know what I mean? Like, it's way different. It's, and this is actually a cover right here. I cropped it a little bit, but like, great. You know what I mean? Just stunning stuff. Love it. And I actually did a quick study of that. But yeah, we're going to just kind of goof off in Krita for a little bit. I have one idea. And I think I would like to do kind of a silhouette sort of thing of like a silhouette with the another painting superimposed inside of it type of thing. I think I like that idea. And it narratively makes sense for what issue 0 is going to be. But it is going to be... This is what I have right now. Here's the thing. How do I want to do this? So this is just a purely... This is genuinely a raw start. I have no sketches. I have no plan. We're just going to ride the lightning, as it were. I'm going to let these Mimi Leo brushes load up. They take a little bit to load. Yeah, see, Krita's not responding. But it will. It just takes it a sec. There we go. Takes it a second, because this is loading. These brushes are crazy because they are very, very textured. Like, extraordinarily textured. And, yeah, so what I'm thinking is, like, because the logo's going to be here, right? I want something kind of dynamic. Okay. And because I want it to be gestural, I don't want to really come in and sketch. You know what I mean? Like, I can, but I don't know. Let's do that. Let's do something like this first. Because what I would like to do is like a kind of a profile shot. So like, see, and I'll come back and I'll carve out in a minute. And then And I'm also going to use like splatter brush type stuff as well. So these are just going to be kind of the huge shapes that we're going to do. So really it's just finding the decent and like it's funny, I don't even have a final design yet for the main character. I kind of do, but I haven't drafted it out yet. I haven't really made a design document that I'm going to follow. I just know he's going to have slightly spiky hair, right? Because that's going to be easier to make look dynamic whenever we start simplifying other stuff. So yeah, he's going to have sort of the side stuff coming on one side. Very anime look, you know. So this type of thing reminds me, like whenever you're a little kid, I don't know if they even still do this anymore, but there was this like old art project back in the early 90s where you would get your, what do they call this? A vanity? Is that right? A vanity is like kind of like a portrait, but it's in a silhouette. See, and I'm also trying to decide on exactly what the style is going to be. I think it's going to be slightly anime inspired, but definitely definitely painterly. I mean, I know that for sure, just because I'm a painter, and that's going to be easier for me to work with. If I work with the big shapes, and then the other part of this, because like this can work as the frame, but the other part of this, it's going to be him standing at the door of a spaceship. So basically this story is going to be about a guy who gets hired to go check out something weird happening on a corporate vessel, but there's some weird like anomalies. This sort of almost think of like the Bermuda Triangle, like it's kind of out of the reach of radio, but there's a distress signal and like that type of thing. So this is our main character, and basically issue 0 is going to be him getting hired for the job, and he doesn't know why, but it kind of sets the exposition, it sets up the story. And then literally from issue 1 until probably halfway through, I don't even know how many issues this will be. It might be like 7 issues, it might be like 20, I have no idea. I need to draft out what all happens, but I know what happens. There's only one big confrontation on the ship, but the rest of it's kind of a one-man play. So that's what I mean. It's going to be kind of, yeah. So the only thing is there's no aliens. There's no aliens. So then the real thing is why was this guy in particular sent on this ship? And the thing is, he's going to find something that he probably shouldn't have found. And it's going to throw a lot of stuff into question. But he's going to have to deal with a lot of stuff from his past. He's going to, like, it really is a one-man play in the regard of everything that he sees or problems that he's solving. He can correlate back to something growing up or family drama, or so it is very, there's some heavy stuff that's going to happen, but that's part of the fun of it. Is what starts as kind of a job for money turns into something completely different. Yeah, Dead Space is great. I do like the world building of Dead Space, where you get on there and it's really creepy and you're like, what is this? But yeah, no monsters, no, nothing like that. This goes way more psychic, way more mental stuff. Actually, I think the real big inspiration of this will probably be the rebooted Battlestar Galactica. If you ever watch that, that is my favorite television show of all time. And there's a lot that I love about that I'm gonna use in this. A lot of like ethical dilemma stuff, and so yeah. Alright. So that, see, and I'm trying to figure out, do I want the silhouette to be like this, or do I want it to be like a true... true silhouette in regards to... See, the deal's all wrong for it in the side, but... Let's see, doing a silhouette, it could be... let's keep it like this. Plus, this gives us a little more real estate to play with anyway. Just kind of putting stuff down and... This would be the very basic sort of block-in thing. But then the rest could be... like doors opening, like this kind of thing. And then he will also be... So if we have something like this, kind of image within image type stuff. It's a little too steep. And see, not a lot of this is going to be super rendered either, at least at first. Trying to think of, do I want his actual silhouette here to be like, because see, this is essentially my version of sketching, is I just like the big shapes, even if they don't really work yet, they will, because then I can come back and make this. Yeah, I love these brushes. They're great because they feel super smooth, but they give you that really nice thick texture right here, which I do want the whole book to have that sort of painting look, right? See, it's funny, I should have done some more research and actually tried to look at other covers that are like what I'm trying to make, but I think I'll do that in a later step. And it's like, how detailed do I want to get? So if like the door opens, other character of the spaceship maybe. Yeah, because like this is essentially what this cover is going to be, is this idea that he's on the, you know, he's outside of the ship, he docked onto this ship, so he makes it, and like the door is opening, so like you're about to start on your adventure type of thing, but keep it to where you don't see any features because you don't know anything about the character yet, but you know, after episode 0 or issue 0, you'll know who he is, what his name is, what his background is, why, as far as he knows, why he has been chosen for this mission, what the mission actually entails, everything that's on a need-to-know basis, who's hiring him, why, all that stuff. So all the setup is going to be issue 0, which is why it's going to be free. I didn't want to actually really make an exposition-heavy book, but if I make it for free and put it out, people can, you know, do what they will. They can take a look at it, or they can skip it, because really it's just about, hey, why is this guy on the ship, and why is the ship being spooky? Yeah, and then like block out these kind of keep these highlights there. His idea is he's holding his gun, because all he has is a handgun. He gets an issued handgun, and that's it. And so this sort of thing, right? So this is kind of what I've been doing lately, is just working purely from goofy looking shapes and working from imagination and stuff. And then later is when we kind of build a reference library. We might find some stock photos, or we might find, actually I might go into like Daz or Unreal or something and maybe draft up basically this, kind of the inside piece, and maybe pose a mannequin in the way that I need, which, you know, it takes time, but that way I can like set camera angles that are a little bit more dynamic. But this is basically what this is. And then trying to think, like, how on the nose do I want to be about, because I don't want it to be super, super busy, but I want it to have, you know, this kind of appeal. like just a mess of stuff. But it still looks good. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, these are nuts. Super good. And we're starting in Krita. I have a whole bunch of like spray brushes and grunge brushes and stuff like that that I can overlay later in Photoshop or Clip Studio or whatever to kind of get this look. Because I do like the very painterly, kind of loosey-goosey look. You know. And I'm trying to figure out, do I want it to be a solid silhouette with the image on the inside? Or do I want to do something like this, like kind of simple Asaro head shading? You know? Like this. Because even Ashley Wood's like really rendered stuff isn't all that rendered. It's very loose. It's very ink heavy. And like these nice scribbles and stuff. Like I'm way into that. I'm not good at it, but I love it. I love to look at it. You can see just really good, strong, basic shapes. For, yeah, like this. Very loose. You know what I mean? Almost like, this is like fashion sketching. Like if you had they call them a paper doll. Like if you had a paper doll and you're putting clothes on it, this is the sort of gestural sketch that you would make of the outline of a body. And like, that's a great idea, because if you were doing a fully rendered painting for every single one of these, God, it would take a month to do one page. You know what I mean? Like, so trying to find that sort of fast, dynamic, interesting process. But I mean, you really got to know your stuff. You know, because like this is nuts. This stuff is nuts. And then like, so it looks like all the main shadows are just one block, right? So I can move this over here. So I wonder if we could do something like, I need to make this silhouette a little better, I think. Like a little bit more readable, but also a little more interesting to look at. The nice thing about these brushes is they all work so well together that you can like just kind of go back and forth between a lot of these, and they're just super cool. that. And then I do know that this has to be the number 5, because that's part of the title. And then maybe like the light burst comes out of the middle here, you know? And then I can do like rim light here. And also it helps us have rim light for the gun. Yeah, I'll probably need to pose the mannequin or whatever. Because I think it might be easier and way faster to make this in 3D. Make like the whole spaceship in 3D, maybe like the interior and stuff. Get some stuff off of like Kit Bash or Kit 3D or whatever it's called. There's also some free sci-fi stuff just on the Unreal Engine marketplace. I have Unity as well. And like I like both fine. I like Unity and I like Unreal because I've used both as kind of a hobbyist, and kind of learning how to code and stuff. I played around with both of them, but Unreal just gives really, really good renders, and maybe I can utilize that as our main like blockouts, you know. I'm trying to think if I want my main character on this one to have like anime hair. 'Cause that's sort of what this is, right? He's see, but the thing about this will be kind of a 3/4 look. So it's weird to get the nose out there, because if you do it a little, it doesn't quite look right. But if you do it a lot, it looks real goofy. So it's this type of stuff, like finding that gesture, but then also having just something that works okay. Like a fairly clean silhouette. And you can have this kind of cut in. Because I think it's part of balancing the silhouette of what's our character versus what's the inside composition here. And maybe, because this is like just a super basic 1-point perspective type thing. You know, so we have something like this. Yeah, he's not looking. Yeah, some hint about the mate. Yeah, like the because there's a way you can either do like, we're going to do it like this. And then he's literally facing this way, like that, like facing this way. Or it could be that kind of Rembrandt thing to where it's like a 3/4 slight turn, but then there's no part of the silhouette. You know what I mean? Like you would have this, but there's no part of the silhouette that breaks out from the face shape. Like you could, you know, bring that down and do something like that. But it's really about like which one works better. And then like that would be, and then like, yeah, like ear right here. You know what I mean? Something like that. Then have his crazy anime boy hair. Like that. But then this way, I think like this is kind of what I have right now. Sort of the Rembrandt where you have the triangle of light right there. You know, sort of like this type of thing. Or maybe it could be like underlit as well. Maybe we could do something like this to where we go, if his nose would be about right here, right? So if we go like that's underneath maybe, and then here this comes up. And then like should probably like draft out what his actual what his actual face looks like, because like I said, I don't even have really the full deal even set up for the main character yet, like the way his face looks. But we can come in and we can like just block in these eye socket areas. Like the shape is weird, but that's fine, because I kind of want to, like I said, I kind of want to abstract this stuff and make it more so just interesting to look at. Like this would also be a thing. A lot of the grittier brushes are going to be helpful whenever I come and start trying to do this too. This would actually be over here. Like that. Let's cut into here. Like that. You know what I mean? So like, And that way we can put the 5 here. Reshape the head a little bit because it's a little too over. It's too far this way. What if the light that was coming from the door, like as the door is opening, is actually also acting as a light source on our silhouette here? That would be tricky, but I think we can do it. Yeah, it's like a brain warp type thing. How would I... Maybe like this. So like, instead of putting shadow in these places, I would put highlights in these places. Yeah, like a weird, like a lightception. Yeah. Yeah, like... It's almost impossible but that's sort of, I mean, that fits the narrative pretty well. Not that the job is impossible, but our duder's gonna go through some stuff. I'll put it that way. He is definitely gonna go through it, but it's gonna have a good ending. It's gonna have a nice chef's kiss wrap up, you know. Here, maybe I can do that. Close that. Would that work okay, having... It's like underlight. It's like spooky campfire underlighting. There's that. That might be a little strong right there, so let me temper that back out. Wonder how. Yeah, I think that idea kind of works. This is all janky, of course, but I think this kind of gets the gist of it. I wish I had downloaded Unreal Engine before I started the stream, because it's like 50 gigs. By the time it's done downloading, we'll be wrapped up. But because I would actually maybe like to see if I could make, that might be the next stream, actually. Next stream might be us playing around in Unreal, trying to get this look. Because I like the silhouette okay. I like this pretty well. I will say, and I know I talked about it at the beginning of the stream, but there are some other artists that have a really cool idea. Let me find a few things here. One of the series that I really love the covers for is Northlanders. If you guys haven't read that, super good. Let's see. Open new tab. So like this type of stuff, I know it's different than kind of what we're doing here, but like, see what I mean? Like very cool graphic read. You still have the paintbrush stuff. This one, just Very, very cool. Let me grab a few more just to kind of break down these type of images, you know? Well, this is a good one. Yeah, see that sort of... Oh, and see, yeah, so there's the arm, the bloody arm right there. Tokyo Ghoul. Oh, I've heard of Tokyo. Let me look it up real quick. See, this is the other fun thing about it, is since I'm not super well versed in, like, I've read some comics and stuff and manga, and I know some of the artists, and I follow some of them, they follow me back and all that. But, like, there's so much to dig into, you know? Let me look at that. Oh, yeah, yeah. Let me... Here's a good one. Yeah, see, there's a nice, there's also a comic I have. I don't even know really what it is. I remember reading it before I went to college, and I was like, I don't know what this book is, but I like it. And it's called Orange by an artist named Benjamin, and that's all it is. Benjamin? Yes. And I have this book. And Benjamin is crazy. His art is freaking unbelievable. And like even the inside work is like this, which is a little more rendered than I might want my stuff to be. But you can still see how it's very painterly and... But yeah, like I like the really solid colors, like the good shapes and... What's up, Brent? Dude, we're doing a deep dive. Deep diving. Yeah, there's a few images here that just look really cool. This is a good one. I thought it was a good one, but... There we go. See where you can't quite see the face? But here, so it's like super stylized, but very, very cool. I do like this book. I couldn't tell you what it's about. I think it's about a high school girl and a high school guy, and they like were dating and not dating anymore, and it's some like drama llama stuff. I don't know. But Benjamin has a great look. Very, very vibrant, you know. And my stuff is going to be a little bit more subdued, but I still want it to have that energy of something like this, because this stuff's just nuts, man. Super nuts. But of course, Ashley Wood has made his career out of, like... And see, what's cool is even the backgrounds aren't really backgrounds necessarily. Some of them are. But you can see, like, the pipe. You can see these lines. But like this is the sort of kind of perfect cover, right? Well, the music's awesome. This is the StarCraft 2 soundtrack, I think. Yes, StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty. Yeah, so basically, right, these are like full paintings. And that's the thing. The covers can have full paintings. You know what I mean? I actually have the whole collection of Metal Gear Solid graphic novel on this computer. So I could open it up and kind of dig through some stuff, but I also don't want this to be a stream of Wes looking through files on his computer, because that's not very fun. Not very fun as a viewer. You know, that's the stuff I do off stream. So, but yeah, like very quick block-ins of stuff, but it still works. It's still like expertly done. But like, yeah, stuff like this, to where this is a full style. Like this. But it's not overly rendered. It's not... You're not worried about all the texture on everything. You're not worried about... You just kind of block in your stuff. You get some good silhouettes. You get some good gesture. That's it, you know? But yeah, so if we have something like this, so we can get rid of our duders here, I think. But we can keep our thick brushes up. We can add more stuff to it too, but this sort of thing, to where we have our character, we have the door, face is kind of coming through there, and like that's the thing, is like how rendered would we want that, you know? I think I'm gonna sneeze real quick, so I'm gonna mute the mic. Yes, I did. Big sneeze. That's what I say to my 3-year-old son. Big sneeze. It's funny, this looks... I didn't even mean to do this, but this face looks almost identical to one of my friends from high school and college. Like, almost identical. It's funny. You never know. People's faces just kind of live in your mind. And these brushes just work so well with each other. It's crazy. Maybe instead of like a head-on look. So I think the composition's okay. It's not great. Once again, it's kind of flat. It's a little boring. I think I would have to... I have to change the angle of the face. Like, actually make the expression a little more nuanced or something. But I also don't want to render too much of a face. I don't know. I don't know which one will look better. I don't know if having this works well, or literally just having it all. Like that again, you know what I mean? This is a little more mysterious. Yes, these are the Mimi Leo. Love them, love them, love them. Love them dearly. Because, like, we have the face to look at or keep it mysterious. Because one of my favorite usages of this type of stuff is the cover for the book Battle Royale. Not the graphic novels, which are also very good, but the actual book cover. Let me see if I can find it. There it is. This is a bona fide classic book cover. Where is... Okay. Here we go. But like, strong silhouette and stuff. But what's so genius about this silhouette is the rifle in the middle. Between them. That negative space use is perfect. Such a great freaking cover. It's a really good book too. See, I'm trying to think of another. Oh yeah, here's a great, if you guys want a masterclass on what Ashley Wood is all about. Here is this banger. Of a picture. Freaking ridiculous. He also did, one of his more famous ones is this one right here. So like, so that's the thing. Do I make the face more like this to where you can see it, and then as we taper down, we kind of lose these features and then have our scene, you know? Because you notice that his face here is a good angle. It's funny, it has a spiky hair too. I'm wondering if my subconscious is just making me remember all of these Ashley Wood pieces that I love so much. And then, oh yeah, see, here's another one. Omnibus. See, just a nice hit of light. And then you got the shadow there and the... Oh, those covers are great, man. Ridiculous. And then let me find one of his most perfect images is, oh, I love this one too. See, he's on a different level. He really is. I could just geek out about Ashley Wood art all stream. And see, if I wanted to get real buck wild, we'll just go into Rebel and do something like... Do something like that. Because that captures the vibe pretty perfectly, you know. But maybe let me carve in. Let me carve into this shape real quick. And see. So let me do this. Need to change the structure of the face. Maybe it's like it's coming up here. Yeah, you gotta try everything, man. You just gotta go for it. And that's it. I mean, this whole stream is just gonna be kind of spitball, you know? Kind of spitball here. Let me get rid of this. Kind of a tilted up face, right? So something like this. See, I think this one has a little more energy to it for sure. And kind of, yeah, use this brush as like a sketch brush. And
if I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? For I must be traveling on now. Too many places I've got to see.
that's
Here with you, girl. Things just couldn't be the same.
5. And if we get like if we come in here, let's find a good ink. Fine line, G pen, a rough pen. Sumi ink. I don't think I've ever used ink brushes in Krita before. You got that Leonard Skinner fest.
Bye bye, it's been a sweet love. Though this feeling I can't change.
That's true. And then like his hair would be here, right?
Lord knows I'm to blame. But if I stayed here with you, girl,
Let's see.
things just couldn't
Need to be a little
be.
easier with that.
'Cause I'm free as a bird now. And this virtue never changed. And this virtue cannot change. Lord knows.
What is this? I do like this brush quite a bit actually, because it has the good like canvasy thing at the end, but it can still play nice with the Memi Leo brushes. Like that. Something here. So it's funny. This kind of reminds me of one of my favorite comic artists from way back. And I say way back because I think I sent this dude an email, like a fan email. Oh, God, like 20 years ago. And his name is Takeshi Miyazawa. And Takeshi Miyazawa worked with a dude named Arthur De La Cruz, and they had a webcomic that I read that no longer exists. There's no trace of it. I checked the like Internet Wayback Machine. It's called the BFX Project, and it had the coolest art that I had like ever seen. And I was about to go into art school. I graduated high school in 2004. So I emailed him. I was like, dude, how do you do that? Let me see if I can find. Let me move this over here. I'll find some sketches of his. So he works on like Spider-Gwen and stuff now. He's been working for Marvel since like 2006. He's been working for them forever. But he has, I follow him on I follow him on Instagram. I could probably just go and pick some stuff. It's funny because like this is how he sketches in ink. He has a very distinct style. It's not anime necessarily. I mean, I guess it is, but it's like Eureka 7. Like that's what it reminds me of. That's a great show, by the way. But yeah, he does let me look. I'm on his Facebook right now to see. I know he has it. There we go. There's some. Here's some sketches. I knew he had some. He's so freaking good. His stuff is so clean, but it has so much like personality and energy. Yeah, so he draws like Mary Jane and Gwen and I know there's one piece that I'm thinking of that I know he did. Here's some other sketches. Ridiculously good. Oh, cool. Little Blade of the Immortal fan art. That's awesome. So freaking clean. The Dave Revoy brushes. Interesting. I gotta go try them. I'm always on the search for new fun brushes to shake stuff up. I sworn he had some other stuff. Huh. See, even this is so cool. I love how this looks. Look how easy, minimal, but like so much personality. That's awesome. So cool. Yeah. So my mood boards usually end up looking like this, by the way. Or I'll just grab cool stuff and it's like, is there a way to mix all this into a blender and make something? And the answer is probably not, but yeah, like this is sick. Stuff right here. Super cool. See, and I'd like tell you what, I'm really digging this ink brush, the Ink 8 Sumi brush in Krita. I like this one quite a bit. It's sort of giving me the look that I want to, which is nice. Oh, awesome. That's actually great news. If it looks cyberpunk. That's sort of, because like I love the idea of cyberpunk, and this is essentially going to be a prequel graphic novel to probably an actual cyberpunk, bigger epic IP type thing. But the other reason I wanted to start with this kind of short comic series is to like set up the world and stuff, but also do things a little easier just to like get my chops up. Because if this one, you know, is whatever, I'll learn a lot, you know what I mean? And like, I don't want to go to the super big guns before I know even what I'm doing. or like why I like doing things a certain way, or even how to do things a certain way, or you know, it's
Come in peace, well, I come in war. I'm counting corpses and I ain't counting score. When the protoss charge and the Zerg start
but like I like cyberpunk a lot. I mean, I have freaking Blade Runner tattooed on my body, so big fan. But I also don't want it to get so overwhelming with the cyberpunk side of things that like cyberpunk is the character or the plot. You know what I mean? Like I want the characters to be characters. I want that to be the first and foremost thing on everybody's mind. With
we got our own transformer.
with the world building being very important, but also kind of second fiddle. I want the art to be, you know, showstopper stuff. Like people are like, whoa, who's this guy? Whenever they read it, but the story's also got to kind of make sense as a story. Yeah, I could do like cheekbone type stuff here, do an ear and all that, but it's let's see, brush, do that. Get this sharp like a razor blade. There you go. And what's nice is I can come back in and kind of smudge out some of these. See, I think with this part on the inside, I may go into Unreal and render this out. Get a mannequin and pose the mannequin the way I want. And because the thing is, I know what I want this to be, I just can't see it yet. Like mentally, I can't see it. I just know that he has to be holding a gun, the door's opening to the spaceship, and that's it. See if that's that way. That comes here. And then what's nice about doing it in 3D, what I'm really thinking about doing is actually building the ship, like the interior of the ship in 3D, using those assets and stuff. And then that way I can literally just go in and take some cool images, you know, basically be like a photographer and go take those images and then use those as my kind of background drawings, and that way I can draw over them and the perspective will be right and save a lot of time. Because that's what I'm finding out, is it's really worth it to find a way to save as much time as possible. Because if you're spending, you know, 3 to 4 days on like each panel of a, you know, 7-panel page, that's a month per page. There's no way anything gets done there. And then if you have a 20-page single issue and you do that math, that's what, 20 something weeks. Or no, 20 something months. It's almost 2 years for one. Yeah, no way. So you got to find ways to simplify it. You know. Yeah, I really dig. Let me get that Memilio brush. What was the one that had that nice... kind of this canvas look? Was it this brush flat? Oh, brush flat canvas, I'm pretty sure. That has this almost like a halftone type thing, which I really... Yeah, it was this one. Cool. Okay. This might be my favorite brush in Krita, is because it works really well as a nice painterly brush. It does have a little bit of impasto to it, but also it has that nice halftone smudge that you can get. Like that. Very cool, very easy to use. See, you get this nice look without even really trying anything. And yeah, our main character right here, he's fairly like punkish. He had a rough time in school and became a mercenary and all that stuff, but he's really good and, you know, that old trope. But he's going to be doing a lot of mental journey type stuff in this book, because it's just going to be him on this ship basically by himself for maybe more than half the story. So like I said, it's a one-man play. It's like a Beckett play or something. But he has a lot that he needs to go through. So yeah, I think that's a much better look than what we had before. And then here it's just about... Oh, and something else we could do really is, instead of having the full figure with the door opening, if we change the perspective, and like I said, now I'm thinking about it in 3D, if we had it almost like a gunslinger shot, to where it would be his arm, his hand and like the handgun, but then you see the door opening a little further back, like it's a little depth of field thing. It's a decent little look. Yes. Yeah. That's part of it too. So he's sent basically to solitary confinement whenever he's on the ship. But he's going to see things on the ship that remind him of things that happened like while he was growing up. And so it's almost like fate sent him there to work through some stuff. But then, of course, there has to be big, ridiculous plot twists, which there are. There's 2 big ones. 3 big ones. Yeah. And one of them is enough of a twist that once people get to it, they're either going to be all in, like, oh my god, this is incredible, like, what is going on? Oh, or they're going to nope out. They're going to be like, nope, this is not for me. It is not pleasant. So that'll be fun. It'll be fun to get there, but that's going to be near the climax of the story. Once you realize like what's actually going on, it's going to be a fun one. But yeah, he's going to be on the ship, and of course there's anomalies, like electromagnetic anomalies happening, so he can't radio out to the people that sent him. But he's also on a timer. If they lose radio contact with him, and this is part of the setup that's going to be in issue 0 here. If they lose contact with him, they'll give him 72 hours, and then they're going to send a ship to come rescue him. So there is a timer. It's like this ticking time bomb type thing, where, you know, they'll come rescue him. So all he has to do is survive for like 2 or 3 days. But if he gets everything up and running, he can go home earlier. Like, That's what this is. So like I said, there's a lot of exposition to kind of get through because you have to set up what the stakes are. And there's no real clean way to do it. As far as I don't want him there's an old joke. I don't want him narrating on the phone like by himself. Like I think who was it? It's Nick Kroll. Nick Kroll and John Mulaney. They have a stand-up bit about it. But you can tell like bad exposition is told from the character's point of view, and the way they do it is by answering a phone, and they're like, "Hello? Yes? Yes, this is me. Oh, you're the mayor. Oh, you're the mayor, and you're calling to tell me that there's an event happening. Well, yes, Mr. Mayor, I'm very interested. Oh, what's that you say, Mr. Mayor?" Like, no, I can't. I'm not gonna do that to people. So we're basically gonna use episode 0 here to get all of that stuff out of the way. And it's funny, this is going to be the most scripted stuff of the whole book. So this part might actually take the longest as far as the script, because the rest of it is all mood stuff. It's all mood. He's going to see some stuff, makes him remember some things. Then he has a kind of a revelation on how to maybe fix a problem. And that's it. So like you repeat that over and over. Yes, so maybe like with this, and I can get, whenever I do the 3D, this is just a super weird block in right now, but I might do, there is, once again, I'm going to pull up Ashley Wood, something like this. I really like basically having 2 gradient maps, one of them sent to like hard light or overlay or something, and then like masking your way out of it, which is, I'm pretty sure how they did this. This stuff is all kind of painted on after the fact. Like I can, it's funny, some things like this I've done this long enough now that I can kind of tell how they made it, like what effects in Photoshop or what filters or whatever. But yeah, these are all vast majority of this stuff is going to be gradient maps. Even in the pages, where are the pages? Here you go. Even in the pages, a lot of this is going to be gradient map stuff. And then you can kind of mask out certain things or paint over, which is what he does here. But just really cool, like, if you start in grayscale, you can do a lot with a gradient map. But yeah, I think it's going to be pretty striking if we keep things very shape-based, like this. Then here's room for the title up here. I think this is pretty good. Here's what I'm going to do real quick. Let's save. Question. Okay, so that's cover setup 1. Let's open up Photoshop. I know I said this would be in Krita, but I'll show you guys some fun stuff. Well, open. Setup 1. I have this, right? And then if I come in here, I can even, what am I looking for? There's old paper, there's messy grunge. Let's try messy grunge. That's a little too messy. So you have these cool like grunge brushes here. Ooh. Cancel. There's also, I thought I had some like splatter brushes. Subtle texture. Little texture. And if we do more shin, charcoal brushes, halftone brushes, grunge light texture, canvas. Let's do speckles, concrete. Some randomness right here. It almost looks like graffiti painting on a wall. But then what I was thinking about, like the grayscale thing or the gradient map thing, is if you do a gradient map, then you do something like that. Do color overlay there, and then you do something like that. And what you do, put this one under that one, and then you can grab this, grab this, you know what I mean? Like, that way you kind of get the best of both worlds. And then what's nice about doing it that way is you can always come back in and, like, if you need to change the topmost gradient map for whatever reason, if you're like, oh, what would it look like as this color? You know, oh, what would it look like as a blue or a... It's really quick and easy, and like the nice warms and stuff, you know. So it's a fun effect. You can do a lot of cool stuff with gradient maps and then not really have to worry about painting everything. So I think I am going to do a majority of the work in grayscale, but then I might come and do some weird filter stuff, especially for covers, because I think this is a nice, easy way to get people, like, get attention, you know? Like, something like this is, like, super striking, you know? But it's a good way to go. I think it's a lot of fun, because you can also just mess around with it. I'm telling you, like, masking and all that stuff, super fun, super easy to do, because you're really letting your values do the work. See, I think that's good. And then, so I could easily come in and just kind of paint over this right here. Actually, what I want to do, yes, that was cover setup. Yeah, this is a way better way to do it. And that's the first lesson we can kind of learn, is if we're going to keep in silhouette stuff, instead of trying to do some rendering stuff like this at first, let's start it first like this. Let's start it more graphic instead of getting into rendering. Just put in our nostrils, put in our eye sockets, do all that. And then, save as. Let's do Photoshop, cover setup 1. from Krita. And the reason why I want to do this, I'm going to do a majority of the editing and stuff in Photoshop, but this gives me the ability to keep these layers here, right? I'm basically trying to match the pixels. So this needs to come down. Thank you, Alexis. So this is real rough draft stuff first, though. Let me... Forget about the arrow keys. There it is. Pixel perfect. Look at that. What a pro. And now, since I have this here, I'm going to file, save, cover setup. Yes. Save that over. What? Oh. Yep, file, save as. Now I can save as that. Yeah, there we go. All right. And see this right here, this is at 100% zoom, right? So we get all these nice paintbrush texture stuff, weird photo textures and dirt and speckle and canvas and all that. But yeah, see, I like keeping in those Memilio brushes because I love that sort of look. And then we can accentuate that even more. But really what I need to do, I need to go in and actually render out this part. And I need to download Unreal, find the camera angle, get one of the mannequins. I think I know what mannequin I'm going to use as well. There's a character from... What was that game that Epic made that they like stopped working on? Paragon? Is that right? There was a character in Paragon named Twin Blast. Is that right? It's been so long since I... And he would probably be a perfect mannequin because the mannequins you can like pose. You can pose and do all that stuff. So that's what I might do. Let me check real quick. Yes. Okay, perfect. So yeah, his name was Twin Blast. And this is essentially what Duder looks like. I would change, I'm going to change the outfit and stuff, but like he kind of has the same hair. He kind of has the build that I want. We can keep the boots. He has a bunch of different deals. And also he has handguns. I know there's a way in Unreal you can hide all of this stuff. So sometimes I might hide the handgun, sometimes I might keep it visible. But you can literally just take the bones and stuff and like make his head turn around, and you can do that. And then like, let's see, you know, it's not going to be an exact one of one. but you can like, here's kind of the epic shot type stuff, right? So he has that. Yeah, that handgun looks stupid. Sorry, person who created the handgun. I mean, I bet it was like some unlock, because I think it was like a tower defense game, and like it was almost like Smite or Dota or something. That's a dumb looking gun. I'm sorry. I should be more respectful. This is not to my taste. His gun is not going to be that big. It's not going to have an umbrella on the end of it or whatever. I'm sorry. I know I really shouldn't talk bad about other artists at all. Hell, that if you would try to see me build this in 3D, be like I was working with my feet. It'd be ridiculous. Is way better than anything I could ever dream of making, so I should better hush up. But you see what I mean? Like, you can get the duder. Yeah, he looks a little growly. And I'm just a hater right now. I mean, the pants are cool. I like the little thing, the silhouette, break up the silhouette right there. Yeah, I'm not going to use the metal arms. So that's what I mean. I can use this guy as a mannequin because it'll give me a really good sense of proportion. Right? And like his head's kind of the right shape. And like I'll just make the hair spikier and stuff. So that might be what we do. We might... yeah, we might go in... And I will say, I think the way Unreal works... I think his hand is always in this position of like holding a handgun. So what we might do, because I know I have like military gun packs or something on Unreal. I have hundreds and hundreds of assets that I got over the years, because every week they give away like 5 sets of assets from the marketplace store, and I've done that since like 2020. So I have hundreds and hundreds. I have like Apache helicopters. I have all kinds of stuff. So maybe we should start using that more, learning more about Unreal, kind of framing some things, maybe using that to paint over. Because I did paint overs back in the day of Unreal Engine stuff. Let me see if I can find it. And like, this won't be the style the graphic novel will be in, but this will be a good example of like how I know how to paint over 3D. Zoom down. Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? There it is. Download that. Go to downloads. So when did I make this? I made this in 2019 maybe. And this is for, so yeah. Yeah, this was in Unreal. So see what I mean? Like, that's a more realistic handgun. When was this? Yep. Oh, 2021. Okay, so that's more current than I thought. But yes, see, this is where I was like kind of learning how to do paint over stuff. But see what I mean? Like, you can get more dynamic poses, you can get better depth of field, you can basically, if you draft stuff up and then use it like this, you can get some really cool looks, right? And Crimson Shifters is actually the name of the bigger story, but this is a prequel story, the comic that we're working on. So yeah, it's this type of gimmick, right? Like, this is sort of the vibe that it's going to be. But instead of it being fully lit like this, it is going to be in grayscale. And it's going to be very, very painterly. Like, basically like this. Right? So we're going to build the stuff in 3D, and then we're going to extrapolate it. We're going to use it as a reference. We might like trace over parts of it to get shapes, but then we're going to paint it. Because I'm very... I don't know, as of right now, I'm very much of the, I want all of this to be very hand made, because you can get really cool stylistic stuff like this by like just painting, just going in and getting a brush and doing some stuff and seeing what works and what doesn't. And it's messy and it's, some of it's incorrect, but who cares? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the way it's going. Yeah, that might be something we do on the next stream, actually. And we might actually go live, instead of on Wednesday, we might do it on like Tuesday night, because Wednesday night we have plans. So that might be a thing we do on Tuesday, is build the 3D. Because like, here's kind of my idea, right? If I came in, and basically it would be this. This is what I would do. So instead of like keeping you guys hanging until then, I do this, I bring this in. Like if I did this, hit copy. Let me put a grayscale filter, edit, fill, with black. Don't mind if I do. Okay, cool. So it'd be something like this. Oh, and that actually works really well too. The size is pretty good. So it would be like, we do that, we'll mask it, fill it with black, come in on the silhouette, and do this. You see what I mean? Like, where you could clearly see the scene or whatever within this, and then you would like come in, and this is where you would merge in the silhouette with you would like add some speckle stuff here. You would add some, you know what I mean? So you can see the image really for what it is, but only if you look kind of close, because you'll see the silhouette first, and then you see the more abstract painterly stuff to tie it in. You know, and that's why it's more important whenever we get that 3D part in to actually like paint it, to like sketch it and do line art over it and like actually paint it in, because you can get your perspective in there pretty good, but you want it all to, I don't want it to look like there's a 3D model inside of this. Does that make sense? Like I said, I want it to very much have that handmade feel. But then what's cool is, let's say you have something like that, it has the scene on the inside, and then you come back in and then do your gradient map stuff. You get something like this. And I'll probably temper down all of this, the white, with like white or something. You see what I mean? Like, it does this really cool pop that you can just not that one, that one. See, there's so many cool things you can do with it. That's why it's real exciting. But you can tell you can definitely tell that I'm just like aping the style of this type of thing. Or let me turn the grayscale back off. Yeah, like, right, perfect example. Here's a silhouette of snake, and then you have Raiden right inside here. But it's, so yeah, completely not original on my part whatsoever. But, the thing is, isn't there the discussion about like, it's from Rick Rubin's book. I bought it recently at the recommendation of Colin, who's probably watching the archive. I hope so. What's up, buddy? He recommended Rick Rubin's book because I'm a big Rick Rubin fan. He's a record producer, and he talks about that the first time you make a certain type of project that you've never made before. So like in my case, I've never made a comic book. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. I don't know any of the rules. I don't know if I'm breaking them or if I'm doing them or if it's wrong or right. Like, I have no clue. He said the best way to get started is to completely ape techniques from other people. Like, don't plagiarize, of course, or, copy and say it's yours or whatever, but like literally look and like how we're doing the gradient map thing. Like, oh, look at the gradient map. Doesn't that look cool? Let's do ours like that. Like, do that. And then he said, you'll get started better quicker. And then you're going to realize as you get further along in your journey of whatever you're doing, why either you will still do it that way or why you will change your method. And after you do that over the course of years and years and years, you have now created your style. Like, you take what you need, you toss what you don't, you change this, you try that, you push and pull. That whole, good artist copy, great artist steal type thing. But the stuff works. It just works. Like, I love it. I love reading it. I love seeing it. It works for a reason. Same thing. I mean, Craig Mullins, it's a little more textured and rendered and stuff, but it's kind of the same thing. You have your noise, you have sketchy line, you have decent rendering in some places, but then other places it's just a mishmash of stuff. You know what I mean? Same thing here. Like, you have your nice rendering, you have your really sharp rendering here, but then like you come into here, this pile, this is just kind of nonsense, but in the best way, because I mean, you have this kind of hiding out. Same thing here. Very sharp, good render, but even the hair is a little sporadic, but you can see the muscles tensing up and stuff. So like, attention to detail is huge, but the actual detail is pretty, you know what I mean? Like, it's, yeah, look at this. Not even a full eye socket, but you don't need it. You know what I mean? You just don't need it. So it's like, what can you get rid of? What can you comfortably get rid of and still keep something interesting? Like, that's very much a Occam's razor, the most simple solution is probably the best one or the correct one. Something like that, yeah. So like, so we have something like this to kind of start. So yeah, right now I think this is a decent little, this could be a decent cover. And this is what the nice thing is, and we're going to change this. This was just an example to kind of show what that's going to look like once we get some stuff in, and then we kind of paint some stuff around. I'll keep it here, and I'll call this example. But yeah, so we're going to go in and kind of render something and get it done here. But this could either be a cool cover with the like title up here, or this could be the credits page, you know, because they also have, let me find, like I said, I have the whole Metal Gear Solid graphic novel on my hard drive right now. They even put a copy of it. So if you're interested in this type of art and you have like a gaming computer or a gaming console, the Master Collection of Metal Gear Solid, Volume 1, has these digital graphic novels. So it has the graphic novels, but the cool thing is they move. So like the images are on their own layers and stuff. So like you hear sound effects and voice acting. It's really cool. But let me open up. Boom. Boom. Let me open up that one. Move 7-zip. Yes. So here is a good title page. Let me... See what I mean? Like, super cool. Even the title pages are baller. You know what I mean? And they are using gradient maps as well. So super fun and quick way to do stuff. So yeah, we're doing kind of an amalgamation of things. And like I said, we'll be working on this like on stream a lot. If I can't think of a cool exercise or something to do, we can just work on the comic. This will be a nice thing that we can have on the agenda always. But then if something more important comes up, we can do that instead. You know what I mean? Because yeah, I think this will be a lot of fun. I think this will be a fun way to relax and also do a lot of problem solving and really focus on narrative more so than like, what's the best painting technique? Like, how do I render this material? Like, we can do that, but I think this is just more fun to look at. I think it's more interesting. I mean, I could be wrong, and you know, it takes all types, so it won't be for everybody, but I do think there's something to it. I think it'll be fun. But that, yeah, it's about 2 o'clock in the morning, which is about my time. So that, let me go ahead and save this, and we'll say our farewells. I'll saving that. Let me move my mic over here. There you go. And then let me come back over. Boom. With my blown out webcam. I don't know why it's so blown out. I did a driver update. So I need to come back and tweak this actually. Let me... If I do webcam. I do... Where is my... Whoop. Alright, there we go. Performance. That might be what it was. I think the exposure was kind of off. There we go. That's a little better. A little moodier. A little more like a, I don't know, some form of a bar, like an art cafe or something. But, yeah. pretty good. I'm happy with that progress. Like I said, I kind of had that idea. I wanted a silhouette of somebody and then a scene happening inside the silhouette because I always have liked that in covers, whether it's a book cover or movie poster. I like that kind of, what's that called? Superimposing is when you do that. It became sentient. Oh my god. But I always like that look. I like that vibe. And I think it works well as kind of an establishing cover for something because you see, okay, here's your main character, but then stuff's happening. And like it literally has, a meaning behind it because things are going to happen within that duder. For sure. There's some kind of heavy topics. And it's not it's funny because kind of writing the general outline of the story, it's not the heavy topics of like abuse and stuff. It's something a little more, I don't know. I'm going to say the word heady, and it's kind of a pun because it has to do with mental stuff. So it's going to be a wild ride. A wild, wild ride indeed. I'll just say that like I've had relatives that have had things like dementia, and my mother has epilepsy, and there's a lot of brain stuff. I find that all very fascinating. So it's going to be a story about dealing with some things like that, but also memories. There's a reason why you can't use memories in court because they can be very, as time goes on, things can misconstrue. You could maybe remember something and you're adamant about it, and then you see an old picture, and it could be something like the color of a t-shirt, or you're like, oh, I love that shirt. I love my green shirt. And then people you grew up with are like, you never had that green shirt. What are you talking about? Be like, no. Remember at your birthday party? And you'd be like, oh, this birthday party? And it's like a purple shirt. And you're like, what? So we're going to be playing with that. That's going to be, oh, yeah. See, the brain's a very fragile thing, and it controls so much. So I do have this kind of fascination with it, but it's going to be, treated with the utmost respect. It's not going to be, I've made it very, very, very adamant in my outlines to like not make statements about it necessarily, but just like how do people come to terms with that? Like who knows if we'll have dementia when we're older, or Alzheimer's, or like who knows? And like what does that really do? And so there's a lot. I mean, like I said, it's not going to be, the story parts of it are not going to be easy. But it's going to be worth exploring. And I think there's something to it, which is why I want to write it and I want to draw it. So like I said, a lot of this book is going to be a one-man play. So the first, this issue 0 that we're working on is all exposition. He's basically interviewing for the job, or basically they chose him for the job, but he's figuring out why me. Like, dude, I'm a high school dropout. Like, what's going on? And then basically tells what the mission is, what the time limit is. Basically, you're setting up everything. And then this issue literally ends with the door opening to the spaceship. Because he has to go to the spaceship, figure out why these anomalies are happening. It went radio silent. Company owns the ship. They need somebody there, but somebody that's not quite on the books. Not one of their employees, because they don't know what's up there. They don't want to put their people at risk. So they hire a mercenary, which is our Duder. Then Duder goes up there, and some things start happening. So, yeah, I'm excited about it. Like I said, it's not going to be easy. Even making the thing is not going to be easy because I don't know what I'm doing. But I think the story is going to be something cool, and it's going to have a good ending. So, it's going to be a rough ride, but it's going to end well. So just keep that in mind. Nice bittersweet ending, as it were. But yeah, I think it'll be fun. And yeah, I'm thinking about putting it up for free, actually, like after it's done, just to get people kind of interested. I'm like, okay, am I a decent writer? Did I do the comic thing well enough? Like, could I continue with this thing if there's enough interest and people are like, give whatever this is, give me more of that. Then, as we put out issues, we do a $2.99, $3.99 an issue. And then at the end, we do a big omnibus. But then, like I said, if we complete it and people really like it and people dig it, we might, and only when it's done, I've told myself this, we could maybe Kickstarter a physical copy. And all the physical copies would be signed by me, and it'd come with a sketch, it'd come with all this bonus stuff. So, like, this is a project that might have some legs, but we have to start with a cover. You know what I mean? We have to start, learn this trade. It's a whole new experience. It's a whole new venue. I'm not becoming a comic book guy or a comic book artist. That really wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I'm still just a generic illustrator. I work for marketing, and I work for tabletop role-playing games and board games, and I'm working on a board game cover right now, in fact. So there's a lot going on. But I think with this, whenever we work narratively, whenever we start looking at it as a storytelling device, how can we frame our shots? How can we tell this story in the panels and the layout of that? It's going to help with our design sensibility. It's going to help with our narrative language, the way that we can infer subtext based on a composition. All of that's going to help the other stuff too. All of what we're going to be learning here in the comic book stuff is going to help in our generic illustrations and our fantasy stuff, and it's going to help in all of it, because you're going to have to think like a director. You always do, right? You have to aim the camera, you have to get the shot. So that sort of mentality is what this whole thing, for Free's book, yeah. So that might be what it is. Sign up for the emails and, be on the list for next issues dropping and stuff. But I know I want to put it on like Gumroad. I'll have it on my website. And it's probably going to be in a multitude of formats, because that's going to help me too. I need to figure out, okay, how do I make this thing, I know how to do it in a CBR, like comic book reader thing, but also okay, now I make it as a PDF, now I make it as an EPUB. It's going to help the publishing side of it too. So all of it's a learning experience, which is going to be nice, and so yeah, I think there's something to this. There's a certain energy with this project that I think not necessarily it's gonna make me a millionaire. I don't think that's part of it. I think it's just, this is gonna make me come to terms with a lot of the stuff that I may have shied away from with illustration. I focus too much on the draftsmanship, the craft of it, of this composition and the rule of thirds and this and this, and how would the highlight go here and stuff. And maybe that's not as important as telling the story, as having a narrative, as the subtext of things. Maybe that's a more interesting playground, rather than what's the difference between rendering gold and rendering silver? I mean, there is a difference, but I don't know. That stuff makes me less and less excited. I have to do it, and that's definitely what I have to do for the job. So I do that by proxy. So maybe this is a way to stretch that other muscle, But yeah, that's my time, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for literally watching me start from essentially a blank canvas. I mean, it was a blank canvas. I just had some texture on there, not knowing anything about what was going on. And then we made something that's actually looking pretty cool. I'm liking how it's looking. And like I said, next time we may dig into Unreal Engine and have that be our main focus on the next stream, is going into the engine, getting our mannequin set up, getting some shots set up based on how we have our character here on the cover, and then figure out what the best way to light it is. That way, whenever we import it in, we can just do a quick paint over, kind of draw outline, paint over it, and then it's done, right? Because what's nice is if we start building up some of the ship just based on the Unreal Engine stuff, that can be how we set up bigger establishing shots. That could be how we set up, more dramatic moments where we need the background in there, like a more of a full page art thing, like big thick paint stroke stuff, we can have the 3D of a mannequin, of the whole scene setup, even with lighting if we wanted to. That way there's some real big like showpiece pages in there for like big plot twists or whatever, to really kind of wow people. And then the rest of it, it's going to be nice because we can still export the camera angles and stuff like that, just images of it, and then use those as backdrops, and then like way lower the opacity. We can do that type of stuff. I know that's how a lot of people work with like Clip Studio Paint. They have their own 3D thing in there. It's just with Unreal, I can get a little bit more gritty of a render out of it. As you saw with that one piece from Crimson Shifters, which is the bigger cyberpunk story. But yeah, I think there's something to it. So that should be fun. But anyways, thanks for hanging out. That is my time. Yeah, the newest video's up about working backwards, about sketching as your last step instead of your first step of a painting. And it was pretty fun. I got to do my druid piece, my druid archer, and we finished that one up, and it's done. And it's getting a lot of traction, way more traction than I thought it would. I thought it'd be just a generic, it's going to get 15, 20 likes, and then people are going to move on. No, I think on Twitter, it's close to 500 or 600. And then Blue Sky is not far behind. I think it's about 350. Went over 100 on Instagram, which hardly ever happens. Instagram's dead. Like, that place is a graveyard. But yeah, it's hitting, and it's hitting pretty well. And I was like, oh, okay, well, there might be something to it. And I lucked out because I finished that one. And then the next day, Wizards of the Coast started their open call for artists. So I was like, oh, let me send them this one. The one that's getting popular right now that I just finished, based on if I worked for Magic the Gathering. Like, here you go. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see, but I'll be back live on Tuesday. We will dig into some Unreal. We'll talk about using 3D, doing cameras. We'll talk about some of my background in film directing, which I went to college for. That was actually my minor. Yes, my major was graphic design and illustration, and then my minor was film directing and production. So I'm going to talk about things like crossing the line. There's an invisible line and characters in one way or the other. Like, we'll talk about all that stuff. But once again, it'll be fun to flex that muscle. But that's my time. You guys take care, and I will see you all on Tuesday. All right? All right. So go make cool art. You know the drill. That's your responsibility. Go do it. And we'll see you next time.